Welcome to Rice TVX and the newest episode of the Rice Crypto Show. We're going to be talking about Dirty Gary Gensler. Is he on the way out? Or is this all just a circus act? Give me a 5x5 if you can hear me. Smash that like button. If you're watching this on replay, fast forward to about the 5-minute mark. Going to give everybody time to get situated in today's live stream. And let you know about all things Rice.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Thank you for tuning in for today's video. Again, give me a 5x5 if you can hear me. I can hear myself. I had to unmute myself on my television. I can hear myself, so I have a 5x5. Thank you for tuning in for today's live episode of the Rice Crypto Show. I did just schedule this an hour and a half ago, so I'm not expecting a lot of people to know about this, but hopefully you've been notified if you're a subscriber, or two, YouTube might have suggested this live stream. We're going to go ahead and play a channel promo before we begin today's live stream, so you know how to find out about both of my channels and stay updated on all things Rice. Before we get into it, take time to visit my website at ricetvx.com. There you can sign up for my mailing list so you can stay up to date on all things Rice. Once you've signed up for my mailing list, you will find links for my channels and socials towards the top of the website. Make sure you are subscribed to both of my YouTube channels, Rice Against the Grain and Rice TVX. If you want to support my work directly, as well as get early access, exclusive content for both channels, plus more, join my Patreon. And as always, a shout out to the sponsors of Rice TVX who make it possible for me to do this full time. You can always find information in every video description for Pre-Search, a decentralized search engine powered by the people and the community, and Monarch Wallet. Welcome to the Clown Show. Again, thank you for tuning in for today's live stream. Before we begin, still giving everybody time to get situated, I want to let everybody know about my partnership with Money Metals Exchange. I have a new deal that's going on. I talked about it in a previous video, but in case you missed that one, because it seems a lot of my videos have not been watched, whether that's the YouTube algorithm, shadow banning, you not getting notified, or me just putting out too many videos. I don't know what the combination is. But I have a new partnership that I'm doing with Money Metals Exchange. Instead of offering a free ½ ounce of silver, what we are doing is we are offering 30 ounces of silver that are going to be given away to 3 winners. So 3 monthly winners, each winning 10 ounces of silver. How do you enter? You use my referral link. You have to use the referral link. It's not going to be a code this time. So make sure you use the referral link. It's in the video description, and I'll put it in the pinned comment. It's moneymetals.com/rice. Use that link and make any purchase during the beginning and end of each month, and you will be entered to win. And this will be ongoing monthly unless we change up what the giveaway is, which I will let people know in advance. But as of now, there will be 3 monthly winners of 10 ounces of silver. All you need to do is make a purchase, any purchase, no minimum amount, no maximum amount, only 1 entry per month, purchase between the beginning and end of the month using moneymetals.com/rice. Buy your gold, your silver, your copper, your platinum, precious metals. It's a very reputable dealer, And I appreciate you guys supporting the channel because it is a way for you to look out for yourself and support Rice TVX at the same damn time. So real quick, I'm going to go ahead and see who's in the chat. As normal, if you're new to the channel, if you're new to catching one of my live streams, what I like to do is go through everything that I'm going to be talking about on today's video. And then I come back to the live chat and go through the comment section. So if you have any questions, anything to add, I will be kind of doing a little bit different. I'm going to be doing a screen share with some articles. After I'm done sharing those articles, I'll come to the live chat, see what's going on. And then I'm going to be sharing some various video clips from yesterday's hearing that Gary Gensler was involved in. We're going to be talking about who is Gary Gensler. We're going to talk about him not being any stranger to controversy and corruption. I'll be going into like this guy's career, what he's been doing. And then we're going to talk about some legislation that's being introduced to remove Gary Gensler from the SEC. We're going to talk about Gary Gensler going after Bittrex in exchange with the Wells notice, saying that they're promoting securities, with Algorand being one of the securities, where a few years ago, the hypocrite himself, Gary Gensler, Dirty Gary, was promoting Algorand. And then we're going to be following it up with this hearing information because yesterday's hearing was very interesting. It was over 4 hours long if you take out the break that they had on the official website. But I do have a link down below if you want to watch the full thing. I did try watching the full thing, and it was really painful. I had a lot going on yesterday with the Crypto Mindset Reset. It's a virtual summit that's going on. It's Crypto Mindset Reset #2. It's live streaming right now on my Rumble channel, I believe, unless they had a problem. And I may have seen an email about a problem. So let me go back to my Rumble channel real quick while I'm talking to everyone and see if they're still live so I can make sure I'm promoting something properly. Okay, it does look like everything is running smoothly over on the Rumble channel. So I will share my Rumble channel. I'll do a quick screen share. You can go to cryptomindsetreset.com and find more information, sign up for the mailing list for future events. But this is day 2 of the Crypto Mindset Reset Virtual Summit #2, day 2. And day 1 was yesterday. I did help kick off yesterday's event and kind of end yesterday's event as well. I kicked off today's event, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be a part of the rest of the event or not, but I definitely encourage you to watch it, and I'll probably be taking some clips from that appearance. But it is happening, and it will be going on for the next 4 hours. So after today's live stream, if you're interested, head over to my Rumble channel and finish watching the rest of day 2 of Crypto Mindset Reset Part 2. All right, so let me go ahead and get things rolling. We have a few more comments, so I'm going to go ahead and look at the comments, and then we're going to get rolling into today's video. Again, thanks for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it, and please take time to smash that like button if you have not already, because it's supposed to help with the algorithm. I'm seemingly getting better response from YouTube as far as promoting my videos during the live stream. As soon as the live stream ends, basically YouTube doesn't promote it. So I'm doing what I can to try to help the algorithm. So please comment, share, comment after the video, smash that like button and all that good stuff. Again, thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. So shout out, we have Justin Eubanks in the house with the Rice Bowl. Thanks for tuning in. Red Robles, Overtaker, A1, good seeing you in the house. Braz B Games, good seeing you, man. Much love from NC here. Hope you're having a great evening, Rice. I'm in Winston-Salem. What part of NC are you, Braz? Jace Ventura too. Good seeing you, my friend. Red Robles is saying that poor old Dirty Gary Gensler got his ass handed to him. Misko, thanks for tuning in. Kenneth GB in OKC. Good seeing you, my friend. Thank you for smashing that like button, and thank you as well, Overtaker. So go ahead and get into the meat of today's conversation. So here we are at the Security Exchange Commission's website, and this is Gary Gensler's biography. Now, if you're reading this, it's going to kind of go from current, from the very beginning, all the way down to his past. So we'll just kind of start this from the reverse factor. He's a native of Baltimore. He earned his undergraduate degree in economics in 1978 and his MBA from the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania in 1979. Prior to his public service, this is important, Gensler worked at Goldman Sachs, where he became a partner in the mergers and acquisitions department, headed the firm's media group, led fixed income and currency trading in Asia, and was co-head of finance, responsible for the firm's worldwide controllers and treasury efforts. In recognition for his service, he was awarded the Alexander Hamilton Award, the U.S. Treasury's highest honor. And it says here, Gary Gensler was formerly chair of the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission. That is a CFTC. A lot of you might be familiar with the CFTC since they are one of the entities that are mentioned as potentially having some sort of oversight over cryptocurrency. Right now, there's a lot of argument as to would that be the SEC or would that be the CFTC? And I guess it would be determined whether or not something is determined to be a security versus something that is a commodity. So now he was the CFT chair under Obama's administration of reform, the $4 million trillion swaps market. He also was a senior advisor to U.S. Senator Paul Sarbanes in writing the Sarbanes-Oxley Act in 2002, and he was the Undersecretary for the Treasury of Domestic Finance and Assistant Secretary of the Treasury from 1979 to 2001. So he is a government career guy, and definitely a puppet, definitely good at taking orders and being a fall guy, being a scapegoat if need be. So before joining the SEC, Gensler was a professor of the practice of global economics and management at the MIT Sloan School of Management, co-director of MIT's FinTech, and senior advisor to the MIT Media Lab Digital Currency Initiative. Gary Gensler was nominated by President Joseph R. Biden to serve as chair of the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission on February 3rd, 2001, confirmed by the Senate April 14th, 2001, and sworn into office April 17th, 2021. So he is a Goldman Sachs guy who does multiple positions in the government, from being the former chair of the CFTC, assistant secretary of the Treasury, also the head of the SEC as the current chair. So that's a little bit about him. Now, under him being the CFTC chair, there was an issue that took place back in 2016. This is an article from Fox Business, March 5th, 2016. These articles, as well as everything I'm sharing on today's video, is always linked down below in the video description, so you can do a deeper dive and look at these articles in their entirety, because I'm just going to be highlighting a few things just to show a little bit of a track record of dirty Gary Gensler. Again, is this all just a circus act going on? Or is Gary Gensler on the way out? And I'll share my thoughts about that at the end of the video. So CFTC's Gensler removes himself from MF Global probe. You can look up what was happening with MF Global, but Gary Gensler has recused himself as from the investigation into the final days of MF Global due to his close ties to former Goldman Sachs colleague John Corzine. So again, I mentioned he was a Goldman Sachs guy, and all the Goldman Sachs guys all seem to look out for each other. It's almost like it's a fraternity, and it basically is a fraternity. Now, again, once again, I will come to the live chat here in just a little bit as soon as I'm done finishing these articles, before we share the video clips that we're going to be sharing on today's live stream. But this was a pretty big deal when this was going on. For many people, perception is reality, and Gensler is very concerned that because MF Global is now in bankruptcy, and with Gensler's longstanding relationship with John Corzine, that it's understood that the review is not compromised in any way. So because there was a lot of question of whether or not he was compromised, Gary Gensler stepped down, thinking that was going to be in his best interest. Ultimately, the CFTC is spearheading the effort to fund some $600 million in missing client funds at the MF Global, which filed for the 8th largest bankruptcy in U.S. history a week ago. The FBI is also probing the matter, and other regulators are examining whether or not management made misleading statements to shareholders ahead of the implosion. More corruption, and he has a track record of it. So this is an article from futuresmag.com that came out November 16th, 2012. The 15 key players in the MF global bankruptcy. And this other article must have been updated at a later time for it to have that 2016. It does say updated, but you'll notice that this was taking place somewhere around 2011, 2012. 15 key players in the MF global bankruptcy. On the heels of a congressional report assigning blame for the firm's collapse, we offer our take on the most important executives, officials, and regulators involved in this case. As our regular readers know, it's been more than a year since MF Global filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. In the ensuing months, the saga has brought revelations into regulatory lapses, missing customer money, squabbling trustees, and change of executive misconduct and charges of executive misconduct. On Thursday, the House Financial Services Investigate Subcommittee issued a 100-page report breaking down the MF Global bankruptcy and assigning blame among the various executives, officials, and regulators involved in the firm's downfall. You can read this entirety to find all the different people that were involved, but as you scroll down, you'll see different government officials, different people in the CME, different people that work for MF, JP Morgan. But as we keep scrolling down, number 4, Gary Gensler, chair of the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Despite MF Global's significance to the futures industry, CFTC chairman Gary Gensler opted not to take part in the agency's investigation into the bankrupt brokerage. The reason? Gensler said he didn't want his participation to be a distraction, considering that he had worked with John Corzine at Goldman Sachs Incorporated. But Gary Gensler's decision may have backfired, as some legislators criticized his decision not to answer questions related to the investigation and asked why he had not recused himself from the MF Global matters immediately upon joining the CFTC, or at least at the onset of the bankruptcy instead of a week later. So again, from a legal and ethical perspective, Chairman Gensler's participation in commission matters involving MF Global would not be improper. So he had no reason to recuse himself, but he did so because he didn't want to be a part of an investigation calling out people, part of his fraternity, part of Goldman Sachs. So I mentioned some legislation being introduced to remove Gary Gensler as the head of the SEC currently. And Representative Davidson is someone who I will be sharing part of a video for here in just a few moments when I get to the video clips. But he is the one that's introducing this legislation to, in fact, fire Gary Gensler for crypto overreach. He declared he will introduce legislation to have Gary Gensler, boss or SEC boss Gary Gensler, removed from his role. Now, what's really important from this, and this is from Warren Davidson. Bear with me one moment. I have somebody messaging me on Telegram, and I want to turn that off so I don't get notifications. Again, if you guys are enjoying today's live stream, be sure to take time to smash that like button. So this is at Warren Davidson's Twitter account at Warren Davidson. Yep. To correct a long series of abuses, I am introducing legislation that removes the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission and replaces the role with an executive director that reports to the board where authority resides. Former chairs of the SEC are ineligible. You can read this article in its entirety. Hester Pierce is somebody who's at the SEC, who's very pro-crypto, who's been speaking out against Gary Gensler. And if Gary Gensler was to be taken out of his spot, a lot of people anticipate that Hester Pierce may be the one that will take his place as the SEC chair. So the next article I want to share, and this will lead into the clips here in just a minute, is, and both these articles come from Cointelegraph. The previous article about Representative Davidson was reported on the 17th of April, 2 days ago. And this article was yesterday, April 18th. SEC Gensler's calls Algo, which is also Algorand, great technology in 2019. The SEC now deems it is a security. Members of the crypto community have called out the SEC chairman for shilling Algorand. A 4-year-old video of the United States SEC Commission Chair Gary Gensler giving praise to smart contract platform Algorand is circulating on Twitter following the SEC declaring that Algo is an unregistered security. In the video, Gensler referred to Algorand as a great technology. while he was contemplating whether a high-performance smart contract network would be capable of integrating an Uber or Lyft-like application on its platform. Algo is one of 6 tokens that Gensler claimed was an unregistered security in the SEC's lawsuit against crypto trading platform Bittrex on April 17th that took issue with the Algorand's Foundation's ICO of Algo in June 2019. Mason Verslewis, he has a really cool tweet that I'll be sharing here in a minute, but this is in the article. You can read it in its entirety. Very interesting stuff. But this right here is going to show you how hypocritical he is, because 4 years ago, he was calling this great technology, and this year he's calling it an unregistered security. So it's like, are you going to charge yourself for promoting unregistered security, Gary Gensler? In fact, you should be doing, the SEC should be doing to you what you did to Kim Kardashian over Ethereum Max, I believe it was called, when the SEC hasn't even gone after Ethereum Max, sadly. So before we get into the videos for today's live stream, I want to go ahead and see what everybody has to say. And I do encourage you, sign up for my mailing list over at ricetvx.com so you can stay updated on all things Rice. I'm getting my new mailing list situated, and I will be sending out weekly updates. So make sure you sign up. That way, in case YouTube doesn't notify you, you'll at least hear from me directly about what's going on with both of my channels, Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain. All righty, so let me see where we left off at, and see who is with us now. Rot me out. Kelly boy, thank you for turning in. Appreciate you tuning in from the car. Pathfinder, woohoo to you, my friend. You are in Lexington. Wow, interesting. You can email me at ricemediagroup@protonmail.com. I will throw up that email address on the screen real quick, along with my private lifetime access for my private membership for my private website just being built, which I shill quite often, and you can find out more in a video that I did when? Oh, pretty much most every video. But yeah, if you want to get lifetime access to my private video website that's being built, I'm doing this fundraiser. I'm offering 50 people lifetime access. There's only 10 more spots left. We have 40 spots filled, and you'll also get a special swag bag of Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain merch, very limited edition. 2 of the things that I have here are Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain patches. And these are Velcro backed, so you can stick them to various things. They're made of PVC. This blue actually glows in the dark. You can see the ridges on it, but the blue glows in the dark, and the red on the Rice Against the Grain does not. But they have the Velcro back, so you can just stick it onto something like a backpack. All sorts of different things, a bulletproof vest. There's lots of things with Velcro that you can always stick things to. So there's my email, my friend. I'm definitely looking to connect with some local crypto people, because I will be doing some meetups, hopefully in the next few months. I think starting in June, I'm going to be looking at doing some crypto meetups. So be sure to send me an email. It's awesome to know that you're close. Basically the next county over. And Paulie P, who watches the show normally, is from the Lexington area as well. Zero Infinity Live, appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. Gulag, my good friend, Gulag is actually one of the private members. He's one of the 40 so far of the fundraiser. I trust Gary as far as I could throw him, and I could probably toss him a few feet. Good one. Good one. New World Crypto in the house. Sean, good seeing you, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. And definitely make sure you guys are smashing that like button. Crypto says that Gary Gensler was crying on the inside. Misko, government sacks. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Never let them see you cry, Gary. Never let them see you cry. Ralph Russell, thank you for tuning in. Justin Trudeau, good seeing you, man. And definitely fuck the government. That's quoted by Justin Trudeau directly. You guys see that. Breaking news. Ralph Russell, that's the best thing about being broke, is there's nothing left to steal. That our new Hunger Games society. Yeah, we're definitely kind of going in that direction. And I will be talking about stuff like that more on Rice Against the Grain if you guys enjoy that kind of content. The Stranger Than Fiction, going down the rabbit hole of conspiracies and fringe topics, the legal fiction, hidden alternative history, spirituality, and wherever the rabbit hole takes us. on Rice Against the Grain. MMF, dirty dogs. Yeah, dirty dogs. That's Gary Gensler's dogs, man. They're all dirty. Again, I really appreciate everybody for taking the time to tune in. It's good seeing you, Sean. Also, Gensler was very chummy with and had connections with SBF and SBS parents. Amazing how Gensler is rather quiet about the FTX collapse and is now going after these exchanges. Definitely trying to show face. That's what I'm saying. Is he on the way out, or is this a circus act? And that's where I thought the thumbnail was perfect. And shout out to, I can't remember the Twitter account that created this image that I went ahead and jacked. And this was the original thumbnail that I was going to use. And I felt like it was a little too intense having that clown there with the knife. I thought it was a good addition, but I thought maybe it was a little too intense. But welcome to the clown show, my friends. It's all it is, because right wing, left wing, same bird, same agenda. So even though these politicians are speaking out, I don't know that they're not just playing their role, because they're not speaking out against the things that are important, like what the Federal Reserve is doing, like what's happening with our fractional reserve banking, with the corruption amongst other politicians, with the people that have been lying under testimony with Congress and Senate. We've got a lot that we need to fix in this nation. We'll finish going through these live comments, and then we're going to come back to share these videos. Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm not from here, though, unfortunately. I did move. Well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but I moved down here basically the very beginning of 2001, and pretty much have been living between Winston-Salem and Charlotte, North Carolina, and I like it here in Winston. Zero Affinity Live says the U.S. is a corporation just like the Fed since 1871, before February 21st, when the Republic was overthrown by a corporate democracy, USA Incorporated. Any comment? Check out Rice Against the Grain. I do go down the rabbit hole of the legal fiction and law stuff, and I will be doing a video, possibly a live stream tomorrow. I'm still deciding that. I'm either going to be doing it tomorrow or Saturday on Rice Against the Grain. I'm going to be talking about my journey with the legal fiction, where I stand. Going to be going over all the different people I've interviewed, whether I support or endorse them anymore, and other people that I would suggest people checking out to learn from. Because I've been spending several years learning, and I'm now going to start implementing things, and I will be sharing that on Rice Against the Grain. So here on Rice TVX, and I had it all here, but due to censorship and me having videos taken down and me getting strikes and possibly losing this channel, I split the channel up. Rice TVX focuses on crypto, economics, and politics, and Rice Against the Grain does all the other things that I just mentioned a moment ago. Red Robbles, thanks again for tuning in. Brass says, I was wondering why I wasn't getting notifications from you. My notifications work for Hit Network, but for others, some reason YouTube algorithm won't notify me from my channel. So what I encourage people to do, if you're not getting notified and you have the notification bell on, is turn it off and turn it on. But I also encourage you to unsubscribe, then resubscribe, then turn the notification bell on. See if that helps. I'm going to be going live again Friday. I haven't decided on the time yet. It's probably going to be somewhere around the 3 or 4 p.m. Eastern time range. So be on the lookout for a live stream on Friday. I'm pretty much going to be putting out videos for the next few weeks on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays here on Rice TVX. And then trying to put out at least 1 to 2 videos over on Rice Against the Grain, in addition to the exclusive content that I'm doing on the private side. Justin Trudeau is no longer conspiracy theory once it's proven true. Left or right, both wings of the same damn bird. I'm glad that people are thinking alike. MMF, I'm in Lexington working right now. Interesting. Very small world. There is no money. There is only infinite credit that is used as currency. That's because there is no money, and it also means that there's no debt as well. And that's what people that study the UCC, discharging debt, that is their basis with that. And Justin Trudeau, yes, sir, you are right. The straw man. All right, so I'm going to go ahead real quick. I will come back to the live chat here in just a moment. I want to throw up some information. It's going to be scrolling across the bottom of the screen of other ways that you can support the channel and take advantage and get yourself some gold and silver with my partnership with ITM Trading. So that information will be scrolling across the bottom of the screen. I'm going to have to do individual screen shares I believe. Yeah, let's start off with this. And I got the audio being shared. Coming back to the main screen. I want to go full screen with this stuff so everybody can see it. Before I do that, actually, I'm not going to go full screen. I want to play a portion of this. Let me know if you can hear this. This is from @Mason vs. Lewis. Gary Gensler was shilling algo, and now he's trying to call it a security. This dude is all over the place, and he's got to go. So this is in reference to the last article that I just shared.
So governance is tough. You could create Uber.
Can you hear that? Let me know if you could hear that part right there. And if you're good to go and everybody can hear, then I will go ahead and continue with playing the rest of it. I just want to make sure that everybody can hear everything that's being said. Let me see here. Audio is good. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. It's definitely a team effort when we do this.
Or lift on top of a blockchain technology. So governance is tough. You could create Uber or Lyft on top of a blockchain technology today. Well, maybe in 5 years you could. It would have the performance. Sylvia McCally's Algorand, who's a Turing Award winner at MIT that I work with. Sylvia's got a great technology that has the performance. You could create Uber on top of it. The question is then, who would update the software? So governance is tough. You could create Uber or Lyft on top of a blockchain technology today. Bitcoin's now the currency that's hypothetically.
These are both around 4 years ago.
Aline would tell us it would be some other crypto. Maybe it's Algorand or something. What happens? What's going to happen to it's Algorand or something? Maybe it's Algorand. Maybe it's Algorand or something. Well, maybe in 5 years you could. Governance is tough. You could create Uber or Lyft on top of a blockchain technology today. Well, maybe in 5 years you could. It would have the performance. Sylvia
Okay, so I've shared that. I want to go back to the other screen. I want to copy and paste this article so I can share this, since this is the link, the window that I'm sharing. You guys should be able to see this. So you heard the information that was just shared, where SEC's Gary Gensler is calling algo a great technology, but now the SEC deems it a security. This is why I'm saying he's a hypocrite. This is why I'm saying that Gary Gensler's a puppet. This is why I'm saying he's a career man. He knows what he's doing. He's playing his role. It's time for him to retire. If they need a scapegoat, being the government, then they will use Gary Gensler as a scapegoat. But until then, his role is not over. They're not done playing with him like a puppet, because that is all that clown is a puppet. He is a career puppet. He does what he's told, and he's really good at pretending to be dumb when he's incredibly smart. A lot of people think he is dumb, but he is incredibly smart. And when you see the clips that I'm going to be sharing in the hearing that was done yesterday, you'll get what I'm saying. Not that I'm a Gary Gensler fan by any means, but you can't knock the man's intelligence. He clearly has intelligence. While I'm playing that information, I'm going to have some other things scrolling across the screen about that lifetime access. There's 10 more spots left if you guys want to take advantage of that, and I would greatly appreciate it. And you can also take time to smash that like button if you haven't already. All right, so here we go. I want to share the rest of the information that we got on today's video. So I'm going back to a Chrome tab. The next thing I'm going to share is Gary Gensler replies. I've got several things, so I want to make sure I'm pulling up the right ones in the right order. Okay. Get the volume up. I'm going to go full screen. I want to let these play out for just a minute, because some of these are a little bit long, but it's good information. And it's basically a highlight of what you would see in the entire over 4-hour hearing with Gary Gensler with the House Financial Committee or whatever it's called. So this is the highlights. Check it out. Enjoy. Let me know if you can hear this okay. I'm just going to go ahead and let it play and mute myself and then check it out on my TV while it's playing. So without further ado.
investors, does the SEC review pre-IPO documents?
I think you said pre-IPO documents. You're supposed to, if you're going to take a company public, the staff of the SEC does review those to see that they're in compliance.
Correct. Is Coinbase a publicly traded company?
I'm sorry?
Is Coinbase publicly traded?
Yes.
All right. So the SEC allowed pension funds and retail investors to invest in a company, Coinbase, that you apparently, from prior remarks, believe was engaging in illegal activity. All of their activities were laid out in their public filings in the S1 prior to the IPO. You did say that you believe Coinbase is selling unregistered securities, correct?
Again, I'm not going to speak to anyone.
No, but you said that they're selling unregistered securities. This is your public comments.
I think, with all respect, I look forward to you finding that, because
Now, real quick, just to highlight, this guy that's questioning Gary Gensler right now is the gentleman that is putting forth the legislation to remove Gary Gensler in his role as the SEC boss. So this is the U.S. congressman that's declaring that he's going to introduce legislation to have Gary Gensler removed from his role. This is the guy asking the questions, right? Meow.
trying to be very careful. I'm
We'll-
not speaking
we'll help
about
refresh your
any one
memory.
company.
In the Kim Kardashian settlement, the SEC stated that Ethereum Max is a security. She reached a settlement for promoting an unregistered security. The unregistered security is Ethereum Max. Have you charged the issuers of Ethereum Max for offering an unregistered security?
We reached a settlement with a celebrity, Ms. Kardashian.
Yeah, but not, she just promoted it. She doesn't operate Ethereum Max. Have you said that Ethereum Max is an unregistered security to the people that offer it?
Now, that's something that's really good that was pointed out, because they charged Kim Kardashian, with promoting unregistered securities, which is a project called Ethereum Max, but they did not charge Ethereum Max for offering an unregistered security. Again, do you see the hypocrisy there?
We did in that settlement, yes, sir.
Okay, it's still trading. What about Ethereum? Is Ethereum now a security?
We had this.
I heard your
discussion.
exchange. They've been in place since 2015. You say in your statements that there's clarity in the market and the rules are clear. Just come on in. You can't even answer the question. Do you say XRP is a security?
We're in court and active discussions and litigation on that.
You're in litigation because you do say it's a security. As you know, let's move on a little bit. As you know, qualified custodian banks would effectively be unable to provide crypto asset related custody as a result of punitive capital impact under accounting provisions in Staff Accounting Bulletin 121. Do you agree that the bulletin should be amended?
I think that the staff addressed an accounting issue and appropriately saw that crypto assets held in custody today are not segregated or not bankruptcy remote in bankruptcy, and should be appropriately put on public company financials.
I wish I had time to go into the ESG rule and everything else, but Chairman Gensler, your record of failures to protect investors and abuses of power make it clear that we need to restructure the Securities and Exchange Commission. The failures are many, but let me cite some of the abuses. You average more than 2 rules proposals a month. You provide inappropriately short comment periods. You have unworkable and unlawful ESG disclosure mandates on the market. You have essentially a Hotel California rule for crypto where you can check in anytime you like, but you can never leave. You have endless discovery with no resolution and no clarity for the captives in the market. You have unworkable proposals for overhauling equity market structure, a de facto ban on crypto through proposed custody rule. You have high staff turnover, unhappy people leaving your office, and unhappy companies and capital leaving our country. To correct a long structure, a de facto ban on crypto through proposed custody.
There's been a lot of employees stepping down from the SEC because they don't agree with the direction that the SEC is taking under Gary Gensler. And there's a lot of cryptocurrency-based organizations and companies that, because of the uncertainty with regulation, are moving outside of the United States, which is detrimental. One of the things that was just recently mentioned, and I think it may be mentioned in one of these hearings, is the fact that China is talking about capitalizing on offering banking to cryptocurrency companies because of what the United States has done. And it's really sad that the United States would allow for another nation to be able to have an upper hand when clearly the United States should be a leader in the cryptocurrency blockchain space. So again, listen to what he says here, because this is the guy introducing the legislation to remove Gary Gensler.
Bankruptcy and should be appropriately put on public company financials.
I wish I had time to go into the ESG rule and everything else, but Chairman Gensler, your record of failures to protect investors and abuses of power make it clear that we need to restructure the Securities and Exchange Commission. The failures are many, but let me cite some of the abuses. You average more than 2 rules proposals a month. You provide inappropriately short comment periods. You have unworkable and unlawful ESG disclosure mandates on the market. You have essentially a Hotel California rule for crypto where you can check in anytime you like, but you can never leave. You have endless discovery with no resolution and no clarity for the captives in the market. You have unworkable proposals for overhauling equity market structure, a de facto ban on crypto through proposed custody rule. You have high staff turnover, unhappy people leaving your office, and unhappy companies and capital leaving our country. To correct a long series of abuses, I'm introducing legislation that removes the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission and replaces the role with an executive director that reports to the board where all authority would reside. Former chairs of the SEC will be ineligible under my proposed bill. And this isn't just my take. It resonates across the political spectrum. The American people want democratic access to capital, retail investor participation. You can't just exclude retail investors from markets and claim it's for their own good. Our markets need to function and flourish, and I yield back.
And I yield back, sir. I yield back. Let me go ahead and stop this one, because like I said, I had to do these individually because I didn't want to share my entire screen. And that way, when I'm coming back to the live comments, I can see everything without everybody seeing full screen share. All right. So that was the Gary Gensler replies. The next one I'm going to be sharing is Representative Chairman McHenry. Let's get this thing rolling. Let's do a screen share. Make sure we got the audio. Is this the right one? It's going to be SEC takes action, SEC actions. Why is this not showing up on my screen the same way? Okay, here we go. All right.
The gentleman from Florida, Mr. Posey, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Speaking of crypto, commingling of funds, while we're on that subject, prior to the collapse of...
Now, this guy right here, man, he's not real exciting, but it really sets the tone, because one of the most recent corrupt things, in my opinion, that Gary Gensler was involved with is FTX. And the fact that FTX, there was no charges or anything brought up against FTX until FTX publicly became a failure, before there were publicly problems. And the SEC should have known about these things prior to this going public, so that they could have technically looked out for the American people. The SEC is supposed to be a government extension that's supposed to protect the people in the securities area. But it seems as if they're corrupt and are just doing what they can to benefit themselves and the people that help them to benefit themselves, the people that grease the wheels. So again, this guy is not the most exciting, but what he says and what's being said is extremely important. So I'm going to go ahead and continue without further ado.
FTX, did you have any concerns with the company or question if they were breaking any securities laws or harming investors?
I think, if I might, I have had, since I've been in this job, a general concern about the field and as expressed here today about the non-compliance of this commingling of these various functions, and that they should come into compliance by separating exchange from broker-dealer from what you might call
Gary's
hedge fund
also really
function
good
and
at
other functions.
not answering questions
So with those
directly,
concerns, did you direct your staff to look into
as you'll
FTX?
notice.
I want to stay at a little bit higher level, but I directed the staff to look into the crypto intermediaries and a wide range of crypto intermediaries. Yes, sir.
Okay, so what do they find?
Well, we filed an action late last year, a number of actions, which are public actions with regard to Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX that are on our website. But what we found in those actions, as they show, is we allege a number of violations of the securities laws.
Yeah, when did you think FTX was problematic? At what point?
Well, again, we filed these actions in December, and I think we've filed follow-up.
At what point? It's problematic. Yeah, when did you think FTX was problematic? At what point?
Well, again, we filed these actions in December, and I think we've filed follow-up
In
actions
December.
in January because it takes time to develop an investigative file, and we follow the facts and the law where they come. But I've given speeches, and I've been clear with many members of this.
Now, I want to remind people that the collapse of FTX took place early November 2022, and the SEC didn't bring about charges until December. The collapse of FTX took place in early November 2022, and the SEC did not take action until December.
Industry that right now they need to come into compliance. We have one goal, is to bring them into compliance and to stop commingling all these functions, stop using customer funds as if they're their own. It's like somebody who's got their hand in the cash register because they say, I want to take some money out of the cash register for the weekend. I'll put it back later. And that's just not proper.
How long after you met with FTX and investigated did you notify the public and investors that there was an
Again,
issue?
as we've chatted earlier today, we
Good seeing you, Amina.
protect anything we do in our examination function, our investigative function. We protect that
Getting there.
information and hold it confidential because it's important for the integrity of any investigation, but also for people's privacy. And often we find that we close investigations without bringing action. So there's a time-tested reason that you, of course, would want us to keep things confidential. So we only make them public when and if we either settle or bring charges.
Sad to hear that. The Inspector General found
Sad to hear that.
Your SEC is facing the highest attrition rate in 10 years. How's the attrition rate affected your agency's ability to regulate digital assets?
No, it's a very dedicated workforce. We've moved up to about 6 or 7% attrition. That's consistent with other financial regulators across.
Okay, so what he's asking, the word attrition, just so people are familiar. The attrition rate is the pace at which people leave a company. Essentially, the attrition rate measures how many people leave voluntarily or involuntarily. It's usually expressed as a percentage and used as one of the main figures HR tracks to understand how things are going at a company. So maybe you've learned something new, because I didn't know what attrition was until I heard this and had to look it up.
If we either settle or bring charges.
Sad to hear that. The Inspector General found that your SEC is facing the highest attrition rate in 10 years. How's the attrition rate affected your agency's ability to regulate digital assets?
No, it's a it's a very dedicated.
Why are people
workforce.
keep
We've
quitting under
moved
your
up
watch,
to
Gary?
about 6 or 7% attrition. That's consistent with other financial regulators across the U.S. government. I'm really pleased to say that last week the Partnership for Public Service, we went up in the overall rankings. We're now in employee surveys. These are employee surveys done by outsiders. I think we're now 3rd out of 27 mid-sized agencies. But in terms of digital assets, we could certainly use more resources. I mean, it is definitely, there are more things to look at and investigate than we have people on the staff to do.
But maybe, and this is just a maybe, maybe that wouldn't be a problem if people weren't quitting at the SEC because they didn't want to work under Gary Gensler. Maybe there would be enough employees at the SEC if there was somebody else in that position. Crazy to think about those kind of things, but might be a reality. Okay, so the next thing I want to share, and again, everything is linked down below in the video description. Amina Motala, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you joining. If you're still here, thank you. It's good seeing you. We should definitely chat soon. I want to go ahead and pull up the next window. And this is from a Twitter account at the name of xjoker_XRP. And it says, "Oh, Gary's in trouble. On behalf of the entire XRP community, fuck you, Gensler." And I will definitely agree with the XRP community, the XRP army. And on behalf of the entire XRP community and on behalf of the entire XRP army, fuck you, Gary Gensler.
Assets.
Experts have digital wallets or own digital assets.
I don't believe under our ethics rules they do.
Do you own digital assets or have a digital wallet?
I don't own any crypto assets. All of my securities holdings are actually digital because they're held by a broker dealer and they're digital there.
Have you ever owned Bitcoin or another digital asset?
No.
And so maybe here, I'm guessing most folks on your senior staff, I'm guessing you included, have bought or sold stocks, but none of them have owned, or none of them currently own crypto assets, but are in the process of making rules and regulations on crypto assets. That'd be a fair assumption.
I couldn't speak to that. I actually at MIT taught a course called Blockchain and Money. I taught multiple courses called Crypto Finance and other courses as well.
But you didn't own any crypto.
No.
You taught the course, but you weren't a user in the product.
I did not own crypto assets. They're a highly speculative asset.
No, I'm not asking for your view on it. I'm just saying that you're in the business now of making rules and regulations regarding digital assets, but you've taught a class on it. You've never personally owned a digital asset, any crypto, including Bitcoin.
The only digital assets I have is my bank account and my brokerage accounts, but no crypto.
Very good. Thank you. Experts have
Yeah. So what I take from that is that gentleman, maybe I'm saying it correctly, Mr. Style, I believe that he is trying to ask Gary Gensler in a roundabout way, how can you be an authority on something like a technology like cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies if you're not a user or have never used these technologies? How can you, in good faith, sir, be someone that has control of an industry that you have no clue how this technology works? And I thought that was a great question. So we're going to move on to the next one. And it gets better and better and better because I've saved the last two for last. So I'm going to be sharing, the first one I'm going to be sharing is Chair McHenry, and he's from North Carolina. He questions Chair Gensler on Ether at the hearing to conduct oversight of the SEC. So I'm going to go ahead and get that one shared on screen And here we go.
Ether is one of the most popular digital assets and powers the Ethereum blockchain. Back in 2018, then SEC Corporation Finance Director Bill Hinman stated that he believed Ether was not a security. Last month, CFTC Chair of the most popular digital assets and powers the Ethereum blockchain. Back in 2018, then SEC Corporation Finance Director Bill Hinman stated that he believed Ether was not a security. Last month, CFTC Chair Benham expressed his view that Ether is a commodity. The State Attorney General of New York asserted in a court filing last month that Ether is a security. Clearly, an asset cannot be both a commodity and a security. Do you agree?
You guys can't hear this?
Actually, all securities
mute
are
it.
commodity under the Commodity
Okay, I want to
Exchange
stop
Act. It's
this real
that
quick.
we are excluded commodity.
Could you hear the other clips though? Everybody says the sound was off. Was the sound only off for this one? Did you guys hear the last one that I played with the about the guy calling him out about the technology, whether he used cryptocurrency? Could you hear that one? We can hear now. It's good. We couldn't hear you. Okay. I get it. I was muted. Okay. Sound wasn't. So I'm just going to make sure. I'm going to reshare. My bad. Thank you, everybody, for letting me know. I'm sharing audio. Here's McHenry. We're sharing. We're full screen. Going to take it back just in case. I am going to mute myself. And here we go.
Ether is one of the most popular digital
Let me
assets
know if you
and
can
powers
hear.
the Ethereum blockchain. Back in 2018, then SEC Corporation Finance Director Bill Hinman stated that he believed Ether was not a security. Last month, CFTC Chair Benham expressed his view that Ether is a commodity. The State Attorney General of New York asserted in a court filing last month that Ether is a security. Clearly, an asset cannot be both a commodity and a security. Do you agree?
Actually, all securities are commodity under the Commodity and Exchange Act. It's that we are excluded commodities. But I would agree that a security cannot be also an excluded commodity and an included commodity. I'm sorry, Chair, just to talk about the Commodity Exchange Act more precisely.
Okay, so do you recognize, how would you categorize Ether then?
Look, I think that the general sweep of what Congress did, not just in the 30s, but as amended.
I'm
over the
asking you,
years,
sitting in your chair now, to make an assessment under the laws as exist. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
without speaking to anyone.
I know you've
Okay,
repeatedly
it's
said
a
you're not going
matter
to
of
speak to
facts.
one, except you've spoken to one, Bitcoin. So I'm asking you to speak to a second one, the second largest market cap here.
And speaking to the tokens, there's 10 to 12,000. If there's a group of entrepreneurs in the
I'm asking
middle
about
that the
one.
public is anticipating a profit based on the.
I'm asking you a specific question, Chair Gensler. I said this in private. This should be no shock to you. I'm asking this question. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
And again, it depends on the facts and the law. And if there's a group of individuals.
I'm asking you about the
in
facts and the
middle-
law sitting in your seat and the judgment you are making.
And so, Mr. Chair, I think you would not want me to prejudge because I'm also.
But you have
aware-
prejudged on this. You've taken 50 enforcement actions. We're finding out as we go, as you file suit, as people get Wells notices on what is a security in your view, in your agency's view. I'm asking you a very simple question about the second largest digital asset. What is your view?
And my view is if there's a group of individuals in the middle that the public is
All right. So
anticipating
let me
a
just
profit
ask a
based
second
on those
question then.
efforts.
Do you think it serves the market for an object to be viewed by the commodities regulator as a commodity and the securities regulator to be viewed as a security? Do you think that provides safety and soundness for the product? Do you think it provides consumer protection? Do you think it serves the value of innovation? I think no should be a very simple answer for you here.
I think
That uncertainty is bad, is it not?
And I think that Congress has said that there's one agency, the Securities and Exchange Commission, under this committee.
And you won't answer my question, and you're the head of that agency. So give me a break. Come on.
I'm answering it in the generic because you would not want me to speak about any one set of facts and circumstance.
Okay, so, but you've already spoken. Have you said anything about Bitcoin?
My predecessors and the agency itself has spoken to them.
Okay,
Yes.
but you're not willing to do the same about Ether.
I think
Okay,
that-
so let me just step back. There's a lack of clarity here in the marketplace. Can you at least agree to that?
I think that the clarity is there. The law is clear.
All
that
right.
There's a group
So
of
let me
individuals
be
you're relying on.
explicit about this. The market doesn't see it. Your regulatory actions and the CFTC's regulatory actions say that there's a great deal of uncertainty here. It is the intention of this committee to fix that uncertainty.
Circumstance.
Now, real quick, I want to add something because I titled the video, "Is Gary Gensler on the way out, or is this just a circus act?" I'm not going to say that every single politician that's asking a question isn't legitimately concerned and doesn't have legitimate questions, because a lot of these seem to be well thought out, well researched, and they know what they're talking about. A lot of them have the facts ahead of time, and Gary Gensler is just avoiding answering questions they already know the answers to, because Gary has spoke about these things on a public level and they can be validated. So they're just, in fact, just showing that Gary Gensler has been lying throughout the testimony. But is there really anything that's going to come out of this? If the public outpour is really that great and that intense, then yes, Gary Gensler will be a scapegoat. Until then, Gary Gensler, he's a career criminal puppet, and they will continue to use him as such. So let me go ahead and play the rest of that video. I took it back just a little bit, and then we're going to play the last video with Majority Whip Emmer. So let's finish this up.
Yes.
Okay, so, but you've already spoken. Have you said anything about Bitcoin?
My predecessors and the agency itself has spoken to them.
Okay,
Yes.
but you're not willing to do the same about Ether.
I think
Okay,
that-
so
So
let
here
me
we
just
go.
step back.
Here we go.
There's a lack of clarity here in
Here
the
we go.
marketplace.
Listen up.
Can you at least agree to that?
I think that the clarity is there. The law is clear.
All
that
right.
if there's a group
So
of
let me
individuals
be
you're relying on.
explicit about this. The market doesn't see it. Your regulatory actions and the CFTC's regulatory actions say that there's a great deal of uncertainty here. It is the intention of this committee to fix that uncertainty and actually provide a sound legal basis for this.
Yeah, it's a little much there. So let me go ahead and stop this screen share, finish looking at these last little bit of comments, and then we'll share this last video here in just a minute. It's definitely just an act, in my opinion. Our Gaming 81 says Gary needs to be fired and action needs to be taken. Why can't he answer a simple yes or no question? Will Zero Affinity Live wait till you get the next clip? Because Majority Whip Emmer is basically saying all I want is yes or no answers. There's no reason to provide any other answer than yes or no. And every time Gary Gensler started doing that, Emmer did something I thought was really ballsy and really awesome. And he just basically kept reclaiming his time. Reclaiming my time. I'm reclaiming my time, sir. Wait till you check this out. Again, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Make sure you guys take time to smash that like button. I greatly appreciate it. Amina says, well said, Chris. People have to stand up. You have to stand up, because if you don't stand up, you're consenting. And I talked about this numerous times. We are all, I'm saying this to myself as well, not just you. We, that includes me and everyone watching this, we are equally the problem and the solution. And if you're not speaking up and speaking out against things, if you're not making your voice heard, then ultimately you're consenting. And everything happens because of the consent of the governed. So remember, you are the problem, you are the solution. Stop being the problem and start being more the solution. Bringing the fourth industrial revolution. That is what Mr. Klaus Schwab, Easy Bugs, is definitely got in mind. Definitely got in mind. All right, so we're going to go ahead. Tiara, thanks for tuning in. She is one of the lifetime members, one of the 40 lifetime members for my fundraiser. 10 spots left. I appreciate all your support, all your retweets, all your love. Thank you for everything you do for what I'm doing, and I appreciate it greatly. And I just wanted to express that to you in this moment. So we're going to go ahead and share this last clip. I saved the best for last. Literally saved the best for last. Okay. So screen share. Make sure we got audio being shared. Get the correct video. And we're going to go ahead and play it. Again, saving the best for last. This is Majority Whip, and we're questioning SEC Gary Gensler at the hearing yesterday.
Mr. Emmer is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Chair Gensler, I have a lot of questions in a limited amount of time. So if you could keep your answers to either a yes or a no, that will allow us to get through as many as possible, sir. From your perspective, is it more difficult?
Let me
now
just
to
take that
keep your
back.
answers questions in a limited amount of time. Gensler, I have a lot of questions in a limited amount of time. So if you could keep your answers to either a yes or a no, that will allow us to get through as
I
many
think
as
that's pretty
possible.
clear, but one more
From
time.
your Gensler, I have a lot of questions in a limited amount of time. So if you could keep your answers to either a yes or a no, that will allow us to get through as many as possible, sir. From your perspective, is it more difficult now for the digital asset industry to access financial products and services in the United States than it was, say, 2 years ago?
Sir, I'm
Yes
not
or no?
running one of those businesses. If they came into compliance, I think that would
Reclaiming
be
my time. The answer, sir, is yes. Do you think you and the SEC have had a role to play in that?
I think we have a role to protect the American investor and the capital markets and the.
Reclaiming my time, sir. You have played an obvious role in that. During your
I love this dude. He is just blasting him. He basically is asking him questions that he has the answers to right in front of him, so that he, as he's asking Gensler, depending on how Gensler answers, he can just reclaim his time and state the facts.
tenure at the SEC, how many rules has the SEC finalized that actually accommodate the existing regulatory framework and are specifically to the digital asset industry so the crypto market can come into compliance?
It's their rule books that are on the books for years, so we have not finalized any new rule specifically with regard to crypto. We've proposed some things in best execution. We've also
Sir, reclaiming my time, the answer is 0. And how many enforcement actions has the SEC levied against digital asset companies during your tenure, sir?
I think it's probably 40 or 50.
The answer, sir, is about 55. My understanding is that the biggest crypto failure in history is probably FTX at $9 billion. Were you the chairman of the SEC when FTX collapsed?
Yes.
Oh, he did it.
And how many times did you meet with FTX prior to their collapse?
I think my public record shows 2.
You met it
My public record.
with FTX at least twice. And arguably, the second biggest crypto failure in history was Terra Luna. Who was the chairman of the SEC when Terra Luna collapsed, sir?
We had brought.
You were, sir, reclaiming my time. You were. There are 5 members on the commission. Do you believe your speeches and interviews are to serve as the official position of the SEC?
I can only speak for myself when I'm speaking.
Again, sir, in a statement on the SEC website, you are quoted saying the Kraken staking as a service enforcement action should make clear to the marketplace that staking as a service providers must register. But again, you haven't provided any rules for how that can be done. I must remind you, your public statements are not regulations. It's not responsible to expect the American people to assume your statements are a substitute for rules. Do you agree with this statement regarding the digital asset industry? The SEC needs additional congressional authorities to prevent transactions, products, and platforms from falling between the regulatory cracks.
I think that it's a largely non-compliant field. And we
Sir,
could use
again,
additional
I asked you to
resources.
comply with my questions, and I'm asking you if you agree with that quote. And I'm going to tell you, I'm quoting you from an August 3rd, 2021 article where you, and I believe you told Congressman Hill earlier that you need congressional authority to regulate stablecoins, and stablecoins happen to be a significant percentage of the crypto market. So the question is, when were you telling the truth, to Mr. Hill or to me? You've got to start answering these questions in a more transparent percentage of the crypto market. So the question is, when were you telling the truth, to Mr. Hill or to me? You've got to start answering these questions in a more transparent manner, sir. Does it concern you, by the way, that your approach to the digital asset industry is actually driving this industry out of the United States?
Trying to drive it to compliance, and if they're not complying with the laws, then they shouldn't be offering their products.
Reclaiming my time. Madam Chair.
I love the fact I like he's the majority whip, but Emmer is literally bringing the whip. I mean, he is like spitting fire, straight fire on this man, calling him a liar because he has all the factual information before him. He has the answer to every question that he's asking. And Gary, I think one time so far in all those questions answered with a yes or no.
I would like to enter into the record this Wall Street Journal article from April 14th, 2023, detailing China's ploy to open its banking system to crypto firms in an effort to seize an opportunity created by our hostile regulatory environment, which, Mr. Chair, you're a big part of.
Without
Look,
objection.
Chair Gensler, FTX was domiciled abroad and so is Binance, yet American consumers still had access to both. You can't really think that pushing this industry abroad is going to protect American consumers when it hasn't several times in the past on your watch. You say the crypto market is rife with non-compliance. However, existing SEC rules make no sense for blockchain-based companies, and following them would actually kill these businesses. Your regulatory style lacks flexibility and nuance, and as a result, you've been an incompetent cop on the beat, doing nothing to protect everyday Americans and pushing American firms into the hands of the CCP. Your intention to work against SEC mission and put American investors in harm's way has been made very apparent, sir. It's been a year and a half since you've appeared before this committee. You need to answer to Congress about the issues that you've had with the SEC staff union, the work environment you've cultivated at the SEC that's led to hemorrhaging of senior staff, the intellectual inconsistency of your regulatory treatment towards Bitcoin spot ETFs, and your politicization of capital formation opportunities through your treatment of certain SPACs. And that's just to name a few. Thank you.
Mic drop.
Gentleman from New
Mic drop. I'm telling you, man, he brought the whip. Definitely classic. Definitely classic. And Henry Bob Schwillikers, thanks for smashing that like button. Be sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed today's live stream. I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to be here. I do encourage you to make sure that you're checking out Crypto Mindset Reset. Let me go ahead and get that pulled up on screen. Day 2 is finishing up. There we go. And you can watch it over on my Rumble channel. I want to get my Rumble pulled up so we can get everything seen very nice, very nicely, and very cleanly, so everybody can check this out. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share my whole screen for a moment. All right, here we go. Why is it not doing it? There we go. All right. Boom. Okay, so here we are, cryptomindsetreset.com. It was taking place on the 18th and 19th. It's going to be ending in the next 2.5 hours. I may be a part of the closing ceremonies. I'm not quite sure if I am or not, but I was a part of day 1. I introduced day 1 with one of the founders, Mike, Life Size Box. And then I also did speech towards the end and did the closing talk with Mike as well yesterday. And then we both opened up today's live stream, and that started at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. It is live streaming on Rice TVX on Rumble. You can watch all of day one, 7 hours and 20 minutes of day one. And day two is currently happening right now. It is live. Let's see what's happening. Let's see what's going on. Let's see who's live. There's my boy Trek with 2Ks. Me and Trek, we used to do content together. Let me go back to that screen. He and I used to do a show with Ken Bozak and a gentleman from Canada that only goes by one name, and that's Kevin. It was a show called Last Week in Crypto. It was version 2 of that show. So Trek with 2Ks is currently live on Crypto Mindset Reset 2. All right. You can get information at cryptomindsetreset.com. Check out the replay for day one yesterday and check out the replay and the fullness for day two today. Thanks for tuning in for today's live stream. I will be live again on Friday sometime between 3 or 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. I'm probably going to be scheduling that tomorrow. That's going to be focusing on central bank digital currencies and what's going on an international as well as national level when it comes to this surveillance state big brother slave coin, the central bank digital currency. Be sure to share this video if you found this informative. Make sure you're subscribed if you have not subscribed already. Smash that like button. Oh, let me get away from the scary thumbnail with the killer clown and just leave it with the other career criminal puppet clown. Took me a minute to get that out. So I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Highlight the last few comments. Shout out to all the people in North Carolina that's in the house. Appreciate Crypto Clan. Appreciate our Gaming Anyone. Thank you, Brasby Games. As always, before we wrap things up, a little positivity. I encourage you, as always, to be a blessing to others. Treat people how you want to be treated. Be the glitch you want to see in the matrix and be the change that you want to see in the world. And until next time, do this thing that I call practice change.